So hello everyone and welcome to the Cloud Lunch and Learn sessions. My name is Hugo Barona and today we start our series of sessions related to IoT. We have Vitor with us giving us today an overview of IoT on Azure. So I hand over to you, Vitor.
Okay, thank you for having me today, Hugo. Once again, we are going to talk about IoT. So hello everyone again. I hope you are having a lovely Friday today. My name is Victor Rodrigues. I'm Azure Cloud Specialist for Application Modernization, Data Modernization, IoT, Machine Learning, and AI at Storm Technology. So if you joined me on one of my sessions before, you know that my story is really recent around IoT. So that story started let's say 3 years ago in Brazil in a project with was involved the vehicle fleet management system. And since that project, I really fell in love with the platform. So currently I'm doing some POCs that involve smart off solutions and image recognition with the NVIDIA platform. Feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn and Twitter, okay? Okay, so today's sessions will be an overview of the IoT services. On this session, you will become familiar with the Azure IoT service, what are the elements to build a development environment, and how to connect a device with Azure IoT Hub, take the first steps on the journey to become an Azure IoT developer. So for today's agenda, we are going to exploring the Azure IoT Hub and the IoT device provisioning service. We're gonna set up, I will actually just show how to set up a development environment. We're gonna take a look at the Raspberry Pi simulator, and we're gonna check how to connect a device with Azure IoT Hub, and by the end, do a quick quiz around the content that we just present today. Okay, so let's first check what Microsoft offers for IoT solutions. So at the bottom layer, Microsoft offers support for IoT and Edge device via Azure IoT Device SDK, Azure Sphere, and offer many other supporting services. At the second layer, we have a rich set of platform as a service offerings in IoT services such as Azure IoT Hub and Azure IoT Device Provision Service to stick together your solution in conjunction with all other services in Azure. And on the third layer, we have an offering on the solution space. Is that what really put Microsoft ahead of the other players? The solution offers are Azure IoT Central that we're going to talk about this in other sessions. But we have Azure IoT Central as a software as a service solution. We have the Azure IoT Reference Architecture and Accelerators as a PaaS solution, and the Dynamic Connected Field Services. And of course, you can use any of these solutions that I mentioned to build a solution in any kind of industry. And you can have peace in mind for the long term that that solution is secure using the Azure Security Center for IoT. If we look at the typical IoT solution, we can break it down into things, insights, and actions. On the right column, you see actions column, a set of the business application that actually allows you to visualize the data coming from your IoT device and take actions based on this data. So many customers struggle with the first IoT solution because they believe you can draw a simple arrow that connects things from the left to the things to the right. However, if you try to do this before, you know this is entirely untrue. And there's a lot of things in the middle that actually help make this work. Many solutions start with the IoT Hub. And that's this allow, like the IoT Hub allows the bi-directional communication between device and the cloud. And the old set of services that you're probably going to add like Azure Maps or Azure Functions or Azure Stream Analytics to do with things like hot, warm, and cold storage, or transform your data into a form that your business application needs. And with all these services to manage and to understand, that's truly complex undertaking, build any IoT solution. But Microsoft Azure is here to help. So let's check now one of the services that can help you with. Azure IoT Hub. The Azure IoT Hub is a fully managed service that enables reliable and secure bi-directional communication between IoT device and Azure. The Azure IoT Hub service provides the following. Establish bi-directional communication with billions of IoT services. You can build in declarative message routing or to other Azure services. You can have a queryable store for device metadata and synchronized state information. You can have extensive monitoring for device connectivity and device identity management events. And you have also SDK device libraries for the most popular languages and platforms. There are several methods that you can create an IoT Hub. For example, you can create an IoT Hub resource using Azure Portal, which is what we're going to do in this session. But you can also create an IoT Hub and other resources, of course, programmatically. So let's create now our IoT Hub, and this is really simple. Just a second. Let me open here the Azure Portal. Okay, here we have the Azure Portal. First, let's grab our resource group in here, the CLL IoT 2020-08. Now, inside of the resource group, you can just simply click Add. In the search text box, let's type here IoT Hub and press Enter. And it's done. So here you have the IoT Hub creation page. You can notice a list of useful links displayed on this blade. And the most important is the documentation. Let's open this in the new browser. So the IoT Hub documentation page is the hood of the IoT Hub resource and documentation, of course. You can use this page to explore current documentation and find tutorials and resources. So to begin the process of creating a new IoT Hub, let's come back to the Azure portal. And we can just click Create. On the IoT Hub blade, on the basic step that we are here, let's ensure that we are connected with the proper subscription. Here I just have one subscription. Mine is the pay-as-you-go. To the right, let's check the resource group. Here we can just select the existing, of course, is the CLL IoT 2010-08. And here to the right, we have the region. So the region. So the drop-down list, you're going to select the same region as our resource group. So let me find here North Europe. Okay. Some important note for you. So when you pick a region to host your app, or for in this case, the IoT Hub, you need to keep in mind that picking a region close to your end users, you decrease the load response times. If you're like on the other side of the world and from your end users, you should not pick the region nearest you. Okay, so now we have the IoT Hub name. We can enter here, we need to enter here a globally unique name for our IoT Hub. Let's provide here, let's say, CLL IoT Hub 2010-08. Okay, so again, the name of your IoT Hub must be globally unique because it's public accessible resource that you must be able to access from any connected device. You need to consider some things before you set this unique name for your IoT Hub. First, the value that you apply to the IoT Hub must be unique across all Azure. This is true because the value assigned to the name you'll be used in your IoT Hub connection string. Since Azure enables you to connect the device from anywhere in the world to your hub, it makes sense that all Azure Hubs must be accessible from the internet using the connection string, and the connection string must therefore be unique. Second, the value that you assign to your IoT Hub name cannot be changed once the app server has been created. If you need to change the name, you need to create a new IoT Hub and re-register your device to it and delete the old IoT Hub. And third, Azure. Always you ensure the name that you enter is unique. If the name that you enter is not unique, Azure will display an asterisk, like here, showing that the name is already exists. I will keep like this for the moment. So let's check now another tab in display, size and scale. Let's take a minute now to review the information present on display. To the right of the price and scale tier, let's open the drop down here. And for this case, for this session and for the next session, I'm going to use the S1 standard tier. You can choose for several tier options depending on how many features you want and how many messages you want to send through your solution per day. For example, the S1 tier that we are using for this session allows a total like 400,000 messages per unit per day. We won't actually need 400,000 messages per unit per day. But we are using features from the next sessions that require this tier level, such as cloud to device commands, device management, and device IoT Edge. So IoT Hub also offers a free tier that's meant for test and evaluation, with all capabilities of the standard tier, but limit messaging allowance. However, you cannot upgrade this free tier to either basic or standard. The free tier is intended for test and evaluation and allow a 500 device to be connected to the IoT Hub and up to 8,000 messages per day. And each as Azure subscription can create one IoT Hub in the free tier. So to the right again, a number of S1 IoT Hub units here. So I will ensure that it's just one selected here. So yeah, it's one, it's fine. As I mentioned above, the price tier that you choose establishes the number of messages that your hub can process per unit per day. To increase the number of messages that your hub can process without moving to a higher price tier, you can increase the number of units. For example, if you want your IoT Hub to support the ingress, let's say 700 messages, you choose the 2 S1 tier units. Okay, so now in advanced settings. The number of partitions related to the device cloud message to the number of simultaneous readers of this message. The IoT Hub, you won't need 4 partitions. Most part of the solutions need maximum 4 partitions, which is like the default value. So here at the top, let's go to review plus create. As you can see, I cannot create with the same name. So using the magic that I created before this resource just to avoid losing any time. But if you want to create a new one, you can just simply click here, review plus create, and that's it. You take like a couple minutes to receive any notification about the IoT Hub was being provisioned. So that's why I created this before. Let's jump back to the presentation. Okay. Okay, since we already have this IoT Hub, let's now examine the IoT Hub service. I will come back to the Azure portal. Just a second. I will open my resource group here. Open my IoT Hub. As you already noted, IoT Hub is like a managed service hosting the cloud that acts as a central message hub for bidirectional communication between your IoT application and the device it manages. The IoT Hub capabilities help you to build a scalable, full-feature IoT solution, such as managing industrial equipments using manufacturing, like tracking valuable assets in healthcare, or even monitor office building usage, and many other scenarios. IoT Hub monitoring help you maintain the health of your solution by tracking events such as device creation, device failures, and device connections. So when we first open our IoT Hub, it will display the overview blade. As you can see there at the top, the blade provides some essential information about the IoT Hub service such as the data center that you are connected, the location, of course, the subscription. But this blades also includes tiles that provide information about how you are using your IoT Hub and recent activities. Let's take a look on these tiles before we exploring further. So here at the bottom, we have here IoT Hub usage. This tile provides a quick overview of what is connected to your IoT Hub and the message account. As we add devices and start to send a message, this tile will provide a nice at-the-glance information. We have here also the device-to-cloud message style that provide a quick view of incoming messages, number of messages used, and of the device over the time. So let's take a minute again to explore a little bit more on the IoT Hub. So here on the left side of the navigation option menus, I would expect that these options open like blades and have provided a lot of information like access to properties and features for your IoT Hub. This also give you the device. This is also given to the device that are connected to IoT Hub. So let's explore like now the IoT devices. This blade here can be used to add, modify, delete device registered to IoT Hub. Okay, so jump into activity log. So as the name implies here, the activity log, this blade gives you access to a log that can be used to review activities and diagnose issues. You can so define, let's say, queries that help you with routine tasks. So let's say problems to connect the device to the cloud and so on. It's a very handy resource inside of the IoT Hub. Here as well, inside of the left side menu under settings, we have the built-in endpoints. So IoT Hub exposes endpoints that enable external connections. Essentially, like an endpoint is anything connected to or communicating with your IoT Hub. You should see that your hub already has two endpoints defined. The first one is the events, and the second, the cloud device messaging. On the left side menu under messaging, let's check now settings, messaging. Let's check message routing. The IoT Hub message routing feature enables you to route incoming device cloud messages to service endpoint sites such as Azure storage containers, event hubs, and service bus queues. You can also create routing rules to perform query-based routes. So at the top of the blade, let's check the custom endpoints. So custom endpoints such as service bus queue, blob storage, and others like listed here are often used within your IoT implementation. I'll not enter much details about this now, but you can check this inside of the documentation and the research that I will provide by the end of the presentation. So jumping back into the PowerPoint. Okay, Azure Device Provisioning Service. The Azure IoT Hub Device Provisioning Service is a helper service for IoT Hub that enable like a zero-touch, just-in-time provision to the right IoT Hub without requiring any human intervention. The device provisioning service provides the following. A zero-touch provision to a single IoT solution without hard-coding IoT Hub connection information at the factory. Provide as well load balance device across multiple hubs. You can connect device to the owner's IoT solution based on the sales transaction data, for example. You can have an extensive monitoring for device connectivity and device identity management events. You can reprovision based on the change in the device. Also, there's several methods to create an instance of IoT Hub device provisioning service. As I said, you can use the Azure portal that I'm going to demonstrate today. You can use the Azure CLI, and you can use, let's say, Azure Resource Management template. Okay, so let's create the device provisioning service. Let me come back here. Let me come back here to my portal. Come back to my resource group. Okay, just a second. Okay, To begin the process of creating your new DPS instance, we just need to click here again, add, and let's search in here for IoT Hub device provisioning service. Okay. Here on this page, you can find, again, some user links. You can see the plans. You can take a look in the documentation. Let's skip this part and jump to create. Again, here you need to specify the information about your subscription, the resource group, and the location. On this case, there's nothing more to add here. I just need to select my proper region, the location, and set the name. Let's call this CLL DPS 2020-08. As you can see here, there's a warning here because these instances already exist. So once again, I'll not create a new one because it takes a time. So let's keep the provision service, the provision part. Okay. Now back to my resource group. Here I have my device provision service. Let's open the device provision service. So in the device provision, first, before I just examine this, let me take a look here on the presentation part. And okay. Yeah, so there's a one step before we just take a look in the configurations inside of the device provision service. What I need to do is basically connect my IoT Hub that I provisioned before with the Azure provision service, Azure device provision service. So to do this, what we need to do is under the settings, we have here, what is linked IoT hubs. Let's wait this loading. Come on. Let's load the page again. Come on, don't fail now. Okay. So back, linked IoT hubs. So at the top of the blade, we need to, once again, we need to connect our IoT hub that we created before with the device provision service. What we need to do here, we need to enter settings, linked IoT hubs, and you just click add. So the add will provide us to add link to IoT hub. That need to provide information required to link our device provision service instance to the IoT hub. Here, I'm gonna pick the subscription, so just one, my subscription, and I will set the IoT hub that I created before. Okay, in this case, is the CLL IoT Hub 2020-08. Here, the access policy, I will select the IoT Hub owner. The IoT Hub owner credential provide the permissions needed to establish the link with the specific IoT hub. So to complete this configuration, I just need to click save. Just let's wait a couple seconds. Let's just to check if it is load. Okay, let's refresh the page. Yes, so we are connecting here. So now I have the connection between my device provision service and IoT Hub. Let's check the presentation again. Yeah, now we can check the device provision service. Know more about this. So the IoT Hub device provision service is like a helper service for IoT Hub that enables, again, zero touch, just-in-time provision to the right IoT Hub without requiring any human intervention, enabling customers to provision millions of devices in a secure and scalable manner. Let's explore now the device provision service. Okay, again, when you first open the device provision service instance, you display the overview blade. As you can see, the area at the top of this blade will provide essential information about the DPS instance, such as the status. You can see if it is active or not active. You can see like the data center location, the subscription. This blade also provide a quick link sections that will provide access, let's say, to Azure IoT Hub device provision documentation, learn more about IoT Hub device provision services, the device provision concepts, price and scale details. You can explore these links and learn more later if you want to. Okay, now again, let's take a minute to scan the left navigation area options. So the first one, of course, activity log. Again, this one you provide all access to the logs that's happened with the device provision service. Again, if you're troubleshooting this, it's very handy start. So another option that we have here is the quick start. This blade lists the steps to start using the IoT Hub device provision service. Links like to documentation and shortcuts to the other blades for configuring the GPS. Another option that we have here is the shared access policies. This blade provides management of access policies, list of the existing policies and the associated permissions. And here we have the linked IoT hubs. Here you can see the linked IoT hub that we just provisioned earlier. The device provision service can only provision device to IoT hubs that have been linked to it. Link an IoT hub to an instance of the device provision service, give the service read and write permissions to the IoT hub device headers. With the link, device provision service can register a device ID and set the initial configuration in the device to in session. Linked IoT hubs, you can link this with any IoT hub that is hosted in any Azure region. You will link it to hubs in other subscriptions also to your provision service. So another option that we have here is the certificates. Here we can manage the X509 certificates that can be used to secure your Azure IoT Hub using the certification authentication. On the left navigation area, under settings, we have the management enrollments. So here you can manage the enrollment groups and the individual enrollments. So just to explain a little more. So enrollment groups can be used for a large number of devices that share a desired initial configuration of the device that are going to have you're going to have these in the same tenant. And an individual enrollment is an entry for a single device that may register. So individual enrollments may use either leaf certificates or SAS tokens, SAS tokens, for a typical or virtual TPM as an attestation mechanism. The registration is an individual enrollment alphanumeric lowercase and may contain hyphens. That's basically how you set the individual enrollment. So jumping back to the presentation. Okay, so let's check now how to set up the developer environment. To set up a proper IoT developer environment, you need to download and install, for example, first, the .NET Core 3.3.1 SDK. You will require as well, of course, you can use the Visual Studio, but you can use the Visual Studio Code. You need to download and install this as well. I'm gonna use this on the presentation today. And once you download the Visual Studio Code on Visual Studio Marketplace, you need to install the following extensions like to the Visual Studio Code. First, the Azure IoT tools for Visual Studio Code, and C# if you're developing using C# for your IoT device. And you're gonna need to download and install the most recent version of the Azure CLI to be able to troubleshooting, connecting, and provision service. So once you have the Azure CLI installed, you're gonna need to install also the Microsoft Azure IoT extension for Azure CLI. This extension, you add your IoT Hub, IoT Edge, and IoT device provision specific commands to Azure CLI. Okay. The Raspberry Pi simulator. Just a second. So now we have almost everything in place we can start to develop. So we know about the Azure IoT Hub. We know more or less about the Azure Device Provision Service, how are the features, how it works. But there's one thing missing. Do you know what it is? Yes, so it's the device. So for you that just starting with the IoT development, we can use like the Raspberry simulator until you don't have the real IoT device. So let me open now the Raspberry simulator and we can take a look together how this works. Just a second. Okay, the Raspberry simulator works in three main areas, like inside of the simulator. First, we have here the assembly area. The assembly area displays the default circuit is that a PI connects with like a BME 208 sensor and LEDs. This area is locked, like right now it's just locked in preview version, so currently you cannot do any customization here, but it's just to understand how this works. And here we have the coding area. This is like an online code editor, so for you to code using like for Raspberry Pi. The default sample application this default sample application will help you to collect the sensor data from the BM200 sensor and send to your Azure IoT Hub. The application is fully compatible with the real Pi device. So if you get the same code here and try to run the same code inside of the Raspberry Pi, should be fine. And here we have the integrated console window that show the outputs of our code. At the top of the windows, we have like three buttons, just three simple buttons: run, reset, fold, expand, and that's it. So now we have a simulated device. We can just move next. So let's check the presentation again. So how to connect the device with the Azure IoT Hub? Okay. I will just use right now the same Raspberry Pi simulator that I just showed you to simply connect this simulator to our Azure IoT Hub. First, let's go back to the portal here, come back to my resource group, and open the Azure IoT Hub. Let's first create a device identity. What you need to do is come here to the IoT device under the Explorers, and you can click New. Let's set the device name here. Let's call the CLL IoT Device 001. Okay, we're gonna use for this case just a symmetric key that will be generated by Microsoft, by Azure, and we can just click Save. Okay, let's wait a couple seconds, and that's it. We create our first device here. So after we created the device, we just need to check, to grab from the device list, we need to open the device and grab the primary connection string or the secondary. So open the device here, and here I have all the information about my device. So I have the primary key, secondary key, and the primary connection string that I'm gonna use right now. So I will just simply copy here. So the IoT Hub identity hash only, like this specific page, only store device identities to enable security access to the IoT Hub. So it stores the device ID and the keys that you're going to use as security credentials. And you can use here as well to enable or disable your device to be accessed or not. So if your application, for example, needs to store the device-specific metadata, I would like to recommend you to use like a specific application to store the specific amount of data. But you can use this page here to get all the information related to your device. So coming back to our device, let me close this. Okay, coming back to our device here. In the code area, we are working with the default sample application, of course. So here in the line 15, we have connection string. We need to replace this connection string in here with the connection string that I just copied. And I paste here. Now, to run this, we have two options. Or we can simply click run, or we can just type npm start. Let's wait a couple seconds. Okay, and the message is being sent to IoT Hub. I can see here is already blinking the LED here. So let's jumping back to IoT Hub and check if the messages are being arrived. So we just come back here, open the IoT Hub. As you can see here, we are increasing the number of messages. Here display the number of messages being delivered. So let's check here the last hour. Yes, we are sending a lot of messages right now. So, but you not always want to use, let's say, the monitor. At some point, you're gonna test your code, the code that you're developing, and for do this, you are using the Visual Code that I mentioned to create their development environment, to establish this connection and test actually your code. So let's check how to do this using the Visual Studio Code. Let me first just stop in here. Okay, let me just close this and open the Visual Studio Code, and that's it. So here I have a simple simulated device using C# code. It's really simple. You can get this same code from Microsoft Azure samples. So what we need to do here in this sample, we need to replace again the connection string. I'm just gonna replace in here. Okay, let's save. We have here the terminal. What I need to do is simply .NET run. Let's wait a couple seconds. Yes. So right now we are sending the telemetry to your for IoT Hub. We are sending a message with the temperature and the humidity. So cool. Everything looks fine. But there's one more way that we have the terminal. We can see this message being arrived inside look like being arrived at the IoT Hub. But there's another way that we can check this using the Azure portal to get if this message is being arrived to IoT Hub. What we need to do is we need to come back to the Azure portal. Let's open the Azure Cloud Shell here. Let me just go up here. Okay, so what we need to do use the Cloud IoT, the Azure Cloud Shell is basically we need to set a command Azure IoT Hub dash IoT Hub monitor dash events. I will set here my hub name. In this case is the CLL IoT Hub 2020-08. And I will check my device ID that we call CLL IoT device 001. Let's wait. Okay, Azure IoT Hub monitor events. Yeah, what's wrong with my command?
008.
Oh yeah, you're right. Thank you. Let's check this. Yeah, is events. Sorry, my bad. But now is 001. Okay, now the command's running. So the monitor events command within the Azure IoT Hub, Azure CLI command model offers the capability to monitor device telemetry and messages sent to an Azure IoT Hub from within the command line / terminal. So the command will output this JSON representation of the events that are being sent to Azure IoT Hub. So the device ID parameter is optional and allows you to monitor the events from a single device ID. So if you don't want to, if you want to monitor from all your device, you can simply remove the device ID parameter. So let's just press Ctrl+C here to stop this and come back here to my terminal. I will stop this as well. And so, and this concludes the first part of the presentation today, guys. So now I will just jump back into the presentation to do a quick quiz with you guys. So first question here. It's possible to upgrade from the free tier to a basic or standard tier. So the main reason that I'm doing this quiz by the end of the sessions, you'll be because using the material provided by Microsoft and the materials provided by this session, you can prepare yourself for the AZ220 certification. So some basic questions around this will be displayed here during the session. So first question is, it's possible to upgrade from the free tier to a basic or a standard tier. If you want to type anything in the chat, I'll be happy if you have any guess. If it's not, we can just jump to the proper answer. Okay. Okay, and the answer is no. So you cannot upgrade from free tier to a basic or standard tier. You need to recreate everything again. So the main reason of free tier is to develop and test. So don't use a free tier for a production environment. Second question, what's the main function of the device provision service? Number one, enables zero-touch IoT provision or halt device data. Okay, if you have any guess, just type in chat. Okay, so and the answer, yes, is enable zero-touch IoT provision service. Just coming back a little bit, to route device data, you need to use a meshes routing inside of the IoT Hub service. Okay, now we are ready to Q&A. Hugo, you want to talk about something before we start the Q&A?
Yeah, Vitor, thank you. And in case you did not have a chance to do it in the beginning of this session, I would like to ask you to take a minute and register to this session. You can scan the QR codes or you can use the aka.ms link available on these slides. And by registering to this session, you will have access to relevant materials related to the session provided by Microsoft. And of course, it's also important for us so we can justify the efforts being done by all of us in this initiative. So please take a minute and register to the form and we can proceed with the questions. So there is a question here from Mitun. I'm going to just read it for you, Vitor.
Yeah.
So Mitun is asking, are there any integrations between the IoT Hub and Event Hub, which currently is being used to ingest events from IoT device?
What we can use with the Event Hub is the connections in the message routing. So basically, every message that is being delivered inside of the IoT Hub, you can route this message to Event Hub, and there we can do the process that you want. So let's say in a pipeline that you have, for example, an IoT Hub, and you want to consume this information using, for example, the logic apps to trigger any action and things like that, you can use the message routing to send the message to Event Hub, and from there you can create a logic app that will trigger based on the business logic that you want to. Yeah, that's the integration that you have today. And the other options, let's say that you want like a code path that you are, for example, receiving the message inside of the IoT Hub, you're gonna save these messages inside of the storage account, for example, as a JSON file. You can consume this information, use the Event Hub, and from there you can use Stream Analytics or Event Hub, Logic Apps to connect and put all together. Yep.
Perfect. Yeah, we have another question here from Praveen. So what is the polling interval for checking if a device is alive, and can we change it? How much is the cost implication of this change?
I think the IoT that still depends, but I think this the check the heartbeat is like every second, but I don't remember if it's possible to change. To be honest, I need to check because usually, yeah, I need to check this for sure. But usually, I think the heartbeat is checked if the device is alive or not every second.
Okay, we have another question from Praveen. So how do we diagnose an issue? So imagine that you have an issue about a device or a messaging not arriving or even an application not receiving the message.
Yeah, so basically inside of the Azure IoT Hub, what you have is the activity log to check the device the message being sent or not. But basically, if you want to check if there's a problem, you need to troubleshooting at the device level, this troubleshooting. So you need to generate at least some kind of logs inside of the device to be able to diagnose any connection problem, for example. There's one alternative, for example, for devices that having problems with not always having connection or just facing problems with connection is work with the IoT Edge device. So basically, we have a custom application that aggregates our information inside of the device. Once you have the connection, you send the information to the cloud.
Perfect. Yeah, it looks like we have no more questions, so maybe we can proceed.
Okay, can I move next? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, folks. So now I want to share great news with you from our collaborators. First, we have here an event provided by our collaborator European Cloud Conference. The name of the event is Modernizing to Clouds. It will run on 20th of August, and it presents basically different cloud migration strategies and more. And the best of all is it's for free, so you can join for free and attend great sessions with great speakers talking about this topic. To do it, you just need to access their websites listed on the bottom of this slide, so www.europeancloudconference.com, and you should be able to see the details of these events and other upcoming events and register. And now if you should proceed to the next slide, please, Vitor. And of course, now we have Catherine with us, representing one of our collaborators, the Software Skill Net, and she wants to show you a great opportunity to learn and become a specialist in IoT. So I don't know, Catherine, are you there? I think maybe you are on mute. Can you? Yes.
Yeah, sorry, I was having delayed reactions with my slide. So thanks very much. Thanks, Victor. That was a brilliant presentation. My name's Catherine Cullen, and I'm a program manager with Software SkillNet. Software SkillNet are the national digital and software network for training needs in Ireland, and we work with the tech industry, and even more so now across all sectors of industry in Ireland, to try and develop and augment the digital skills requirements that are so desperately needed in Ireland. So we look at everything from digital literacies in certain companies, but also to really high-tech digital transformation within the tech sector itself, but also within non-IT companies. Today, I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about our Masters in the Internet of Things, or Electronic and Computer Technology. And it's a program that we run with DCU, and it's built on the back of their electronic engineering's Thought Masters, and we can offer very flexible modes of delivery part-time. This Masters is quite unique in that it aims to support applicants from a broad range of associated disciplines, and to better integrate project components with the industry placements and experience that come on the back of that as well. Our program has been designed as an advanced training program that's going to address the knowledge and skills needed for those engaged in the design from the end-to-end engagement for IoT. So that's everything from design, development, management, and the support of IoT, and all the different tech stacks that's associated with it, all of the different roles that are associated with the Internet of Things as it looks today. This program, it's designed to support the advanced needs of existing IT professionals, but also newer entrants. And the modules are supportive to enable progression to go into the various different stages of the Internet of Things. On the slide there, you'll see that we've got a breakdown of the modules that are on offer. So I think you're probably more equipped to confirm that they're quite a broad range of IT skills and modules there that you can choose from. This is a part-time master's run over 2 years in conjunction with the DCU, and very much a blended learning approach, especially in this COVID environment. And the most important thing is that SkillNet Ireland, it's ultimately funded by the industry members itself, but also the government. And we're able to offer about 25% grant aid towards the cost of those programs on an annual basis. And so the cost of this program would be €3,150 per year. It's quite an intense program, but for people who are working in that industry, they will probably have a better capability to absorb and integrate into this type of tech skills and the intensity that will bring. So on average, it's about 1.5 days per month in class associated with the modules, but it's recommended maybe 10 to 15 hours a week could be associated working through the project work as well. If anyone is interested in getting involved and finding out more about the program, I'd be very happy to have a quick call with you over the next week or so. We're down to the last final places, and in order for the value of the class and the peer learning that's associated with it, we're very keen to fill that program completely. So feel free to contact us my name's Catherine Cullen. I'll put the details in the chat box there of how you can contact us, and I'd be happy to have a call and even introduce you to the program director, Derek Malloy, who is keenly involved and is happy to discuss the various modules and people's suitability to the program as they progress through and form the decision on if they want to join. So I thank Victor and Hugo for the opportunity to have to jump on the back of this call, and yeah, I think I'll dial in for the next few sessions. It's really good to see the meetups starting back again.
Thank you, Catherine. Thank you,
Catherine.
So, Vitor, maybe you can proceed to the next. Yeah. You are on mute, Vitor.
Sorry. So about the next session. So today was the overview of the IoT solution, and the next session will become more interesting because you're going to use the connecting IoT device to Azure. I will show how to connect a real scenario of the IoT device to the Azure with the IoT Hub, device provision service. The following sessions will be set up in the IoT Edge device. Is really, really nice. So how to deploy a solution, the entire solution to your IoT device to be able to process on the edge instead of process on the cloud. And the last session will be about create your first Azure IoT Central app. That really instance. The dates are here. Don't forget to register on this. So it will be really nice, and we're really happy to have you guys there. And let me check here. Yeah, and that's it from our part. Thank you very much, guys, for having me, spend your time with me. So I hope to see you guys in the next sessions.
Yeah, and thank you, Vitor, for delivering this great session. And thank you, everyone, to joining us on this session. And please use the link in the chats to provide feedback of this session using our survey. And also register to this session using the Microsoft link as well. And as Catherine said, have a look to the master program. It really looks like an interesting opportunity for you to learn more about IoT and get specialized on IoT. So, and have a great day. And next week we will have another session continuing this series of sessions for the IoT. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you all. Have a great day. Have a great weekend. Bye.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Have a nice weekend and great session. Thank you.
Thanks, Victor. Bye-bye.